Awesome, guys. I appreciate you joining me today. Really excited about doing this training for you guys. It's going to be pretty in-depth, very technical. We're going to do some role playing, but just talking about prospecting. Shaq wanted me to go over just all of the ways, every single way that I am currently prospecting and what I'm teaching my team to do. Prospecting is a very important part of your business. It is the first fundamental as far as the 7 fundamentals from Hector Lamarck. And prospecting is how you bring in either new clients and new recruits into your team. And so a majority of the things that I go over is going to be on recruiting. There will be some brief scripts about setting appointments as far as working with new teammates. But I'm going to be going through each and every way to do that, as far as and also how that's going to tie into utilizing the webinars as well. So definitely take a lot of notes. Obviously, this will be up on YouTube, but any questions that you guys have, post them in the chat, and then I'll be able to answer them at the end as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Sorry, guys. All right. So first things first is the recruiting flow, the recruiting process. So you always have to remember this process. It's you got to make it very technical so people can follow it when they come into the business. But everything, like I said, is going to start off with prospecting. And then once you get a prospect is just a new name and number. Doesn't have to be somebody that you just went out and met on the street, just a new name and number, any which way that you get it from. We're going to talk about those ways today, but just somebody that is new that you're going to reach out to with a purpose of either recruiting or doing a qualified appointment with them. So that's number one. And then once you get that prospect, then you're either going to have to text them, call them, or send them a message. From there, then the goal is to schedule them to watch some type of recruiting information, whether it's the animated video or Shaq's expansion webinar. And I know some people might be doing interviews. I have not done an interview since March of last year. So I don't do any interviews anymore, but these are the 2 major ways that I will talk to people for recruiting. Then I do a follow-up meeting. So that's like kind of my interview is very short afterwards, just to address questions and then get them started. And then from there, we'll get them scheduled for an orientation to watch the webinar with Samir. So we still use that same orientation. And then from there, we'll do another meeting individually with them for their fast start to kind of walk them through the process, talk a little bit about compensation, what kind of text messages we'll use, and then we'll get their list, do some brainstorming. And then from there, you just pretty much repeat the process, right? And go through that. And you want to do that as many times as possible, get good at doing it yourself, and then teach other people how to do that as well. So as far as the prospecting goes, there's different ways to actually prospect. There's warm market prospecting, and then there's cold market prospecting. So warm market, you want to try to stay in your warm market for as long as possible. I have animated and webinar because typically if I'm reaching out to anybody in those 3 categories as far as warm market, I am going to be using the animated video with them. And then anybody that's cold market, I'm going to be using Shaq's webinar. So as far as the warm market prospecting, there's personal texting that you can do on your own. Let's say you're licensed now, you may not be in the training period anymore. I have 2 text messages that you can use that I've gotten from various sources. And then Facebook, I've been using Facebook a lot more recently now, not so much in the cold market, which was how I started. Now it's all warm market on Facebook. And then when you're doing a fast start meeting with a new recruit, that's still warm market, but there's the 3-way text messages. So we utilize that. Now, let's say you just got to get the ball rolling and there isn't any warm market that you're utilizing, then you can go into the cold market, but you want to be in that market for a very short period of time. So ways that I reach out to somebody that I don't know at all is through LinkedIn. Primarily, that's my number 1 go-to. Sometimes I'll make some calls from resumes. And then the last thing is face-to-face. So when you're just out and about, you meet somebody nice, good, waiter, waitress, somebody at the grocery store that you talk to that seems nice, then you can get a number that way as well. So these are the 6 major ways that we're going to go over today. If it's messages, I'm going to go through all of the scripts exactly. And then I don't get on the phone as often, except when I'm working with new recruits. But once we do get on the phone, I'm going to go role play through those scripts with Mike as well. So let's start with the hot and warm market, right? So hot and warm market, guys. The first one is sending text messages from numbers in your phone. So I don't know when it was a couple years ago. I was listening to an audio from Tanya Poe, and she was like, hey, I have never been in the cold market my entire career of being in the business, right? So that always got me thinking, and I was like, wow, no way. I've gotten so comfortable in being in the cold market. But in the audio, she basically just said she went through her phone A through Z. And when you think about it, guys, if you have a phone number in your phone, you've met them some way, some form, somehow. That's why you have the phone number in your phone. So even she said, even if I didn't even remember exactly who they were, she would just call the number. Hey, Bob, what's up? This is Tanya. I have your number in my phone. I don't really remember exactly how we met, but I have your number. How you been? What's up? And then maybe try to figure out where they're from and then try to do something with them. But hey, I mean, if you're going to go out on the street and talk to somebody random, you might as well talk to all the people on your phone, right? So that always had me thinking. But obviously through this time, especially with COVID, there's been people that have come out with different text messages that they send. The first one that I'm going to read is like, if you're going to just text somebody that you know is qualified in your phone already. And Samir had sent us this. I don't know where he got it from, but you always copy people that have things that work. So the message basically just says, hey, John, how are you? I know we haven't talked in a while, but I was thinking about you. I started working with a financial company and I'm now licensed. I need some help building my client base, and you actually fit the exact demographic of people that we look for. So I was wondering if I can sit down with you and your spouse just to simply show you what I do. If you see value in it, maybe you can potentially refer me to others in a similar situation. And of course, there's no obligation. Would you be willing to do me that favor? Right? So very straightforward, just asking them to hear you out, and then you can set an appointment, right? Now, on the other side, we just recently had a winner's call with Jackie Ashford, who is doing unbelievable. She makes over $350,000 a year, and she has been texting her market just mainly straight for recruiting. So her message says, hey, Susan, how are you? It's Jackie. How have you been? My company is growing like crazy right now because we can make money from anywhere, regardless of where you live. It's all work from home now. If you can make an extra $500 to $1,000 a week part-time from the comfort of your home, would you want more information? Right? Very straightforward. And so obviously these messages, when you're going to be sending them out, you just got to send them. You can't be like super filtering about who you're picking and choosing, because a lot of people, to be honest, if you're just going A through Z through your phone, they're probably not going to answer, but you never know, right? Jackie Ashford says she sends out 50 to 70 messages a day, 50 to 70 messages a day. So you got to do big numbers to get people to respond. Not everyone's going to respond. This is probably not going to work if you're only sending out 1 to 2 messages a day. So you should at least probably get to the point, if you're going to do this, start sending out at least maybe 10 a day. So throughout the week, if you're doing it for the week, you're getting to the 50 messages a week. If you're part-time, obviously, if you're full-time, you can be sending out a lot more messages from there. But this is definitely a way that you can reach out to your warm market and just see if somebody responds. And if they do, then we can get them set up with the 18-minute webinar. So this is something that has worked for many people. A lot of my new teammates, it's like, hey, they're out of training and they want something to be able to send out. So this is definitely a way that they can utilize that. Now, outside of numbers in your phone, which is kind of my go-to. So I have 3 major go-tos that I use for my prospecting. This is one of them, Facebook. My second one is the 3-way text messages through a Recruits More Market. And then my third one is LinkedIn. So those are my 3 major forms of prospecting. So as far as Facebook, like I said earlier, when I started doing Facebook, I was all cold market. I was just blasting people that I don't know and hoping that they'd get back to me. But I started to realize that on Facebook, they've updated and changed things quite a bit. So if you're messaging people that you don't know, it goes to this little random inbox that is not really their major inbox. And unless because they're not friends with you, if they don't click that box, they're not getting the message. They're not seeing the message. And so with that, I was like, okay. So then I had stopped Facebook for a while, and I just literally did LinkedIn and was working with new recruits markets and resumes. But then sometimes when you get a fireball that comes into your team, they remotivate you, right? So somebody on our team came in and she was like, you know what? I'm just going to message every single friend that I have on my Facebook with a message. I was like, okay. And she was getting a lot of traction. And I was like, what are you saying? Like, what are you sending out? And she sent me a little blurb. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to let this new recruit stand me up. So I'm going to start doing the same thing. Right. So I edited a little bit, but this is what I send out. So I basically, if you use Facebook, the best way to do this is if you're using the app on your phone. So you have to have the Facebook app, and then you also have to have Facebook Messenger. So if you guys have specific questions, you can ask me and I could probably walk you through it. But if you go on your Facebook on your phone, go to your profile specifically, and then hit your friends. Once you hit your friends, then it'll put all of your Facebook friends in A to Z, right? If you just click your friends any other format, any other way, it's going to be randomized in all this random order, and you're not going to be able to keep track where you're at. But if you go to your profile, you click friends, it'll bring up a list of your friends and it'll be an A to Z. So I just started from the top and just went down A through Z. And it's crazy. For a little while, I was like, not many people are responding. But then I got magically to the letter J, and it was unbelievable. Everybody in the J started responding back and setting up a bunch of meetings. And then I found one of our top recruits right now, and she's doing amazing. So I don't know what happened with the J's, but it worked there. So you just got to send them out, and you'll see that sometimes people won't respond right away. It may be a couple weeks before they answer. It may be months. It just really depends on how often that person uses Facebook. But on Facebook, as far as how many messages you can send out, I think it lets you send out about 50 in a short period of time without saying, hey, sorry, you can't send out any more messages. Then you just wait a couple hours, then you can send out more messages. So here, this is what I'll say. I'll say, hey, Dante, I hope you and your family are doing well during 2021, staying safe and healthy. Not sure if you're aware or not, but Mike and I have our own business running a financial firm, and we're looking for new talent who would like to work remotely. Just curious, when it comes to work or income opportunities, do you keep your options open? So you just send that message out. It's very open-ended, and most people will say, yeah, sure. A lot of people, like when I'm sending them and people do respond, most people will say yes. Some people will be like, hey, no, I just started a new job, or whatever the case may be. Either way, I'm going to say, if they say yes, I'm going to say, thanks for responding and being open. It's good to hear from you. If you're able to let me know a good number so I can text you more details, that'd be great. That way I know I would get back to you in a timely manner, right? Why do I say that? Because a lot of times people will try to have the whole conversation over Facebook, and I need to get the number. So right away, I'm trying to get the phone number. And when you say in a timely manner, a lot of people, like if they took 3 weeks to get back to you, they understand that they're not on Facebook all the time. So it'll make sense. That's why I say that. And then once I get the phone number, then I'm going to text them directly, say, hey, what's up? It's Shondell. Just wanted to get you some more information. I have a quick 18-minute webinar with all of the details about our company right now, and then get them scheduled for a time to watch the webinar, and also do a follow-up time to meet with them on Zoom 30 minutes after. So I know I'm going to talk about the webinars later, but anytime you guys are scheduling people to watch any webinar, always schedule a follow-up with them immediately, as soon as you can. Don't ever just have them watch the webinar and no follow-up scheduled. To be honest, in the past year, that I've been using, either Shaq's webinar or this new animated video. If I have not scheduled a follow-up and just sent somebody a link to watch it, I haven't found one person that just watches it just to watch it. So always schedule a time to meet with them, and then go from there, and see what you can get done. So that is Facebook. You do that often. It's a very easy way to get your recruits prospecting as well. I know I have a couple people on our team that have also started doing the A to Z on Facebook, and it's a little more warm than just reaching out randomly to people. So that's great. Now, three-way text message. So this is like my go-to as far as working through your teammates. So when you bring on a new associate, you have to help them start to navigate their market. And a lot of times what I've started to realize is that people don't like getting on the phone anymore. So why do we use the three-way text? Number one is it's easier, and hopefully the recruit will actually just send out some messages after you do the brainstorming and get some initial names from people. You can do this or not. I don't get the phone numbers from them. I just get a list of names and then tell them to send the text messages, because as soon as they send the text, I'm going to get the number anyway, right? So I usually just have them go through and we'll get, okay, let's say we get the top 10 people that could be, if they're like single, no kids, we can send out the recruiting message. If they're qualified, we're going to send out the client message. So the first one is just, hey, Peter, I have a favor. I just started working with a new company and I listed you as a character reference and to help with training. Please say great things about me and expect a call from Shondell. This is her number. She's included on this message. That's for setting up a qualified appointment. Then next one is, hey, John, I give you the same name. I just started working with a company part-time and they're looking for money motivated people that like helping others, who are keeping their options open. I thought of you. Expect a call from Shondell. Here's your number. She's also on this message, right? So why do I like this so much, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can set appointments with recruits, new recruits. I like this, number one, because I am 100% controlling the point of contact. The recruit doesn't have too much opportunity to mess up the situation before I can get in touch with them, right? If they send the message, it's a three-way, and I prep my teammates. I say, hey, these are the two types of messages. Message number one, you're gonna usually get thumbs up, awesome. Of course, I only have great things to say about you. When is she gonna call? Will do. That's usually the responses that I'm getting back from the first message. The second message, I'm gonna let them know that they may ask some questions, because now it's about work. They're going to say, what's the name of the company? What do you do? How does it work? How do I get paid? They're going to start asking all these questions. So you have to let them know, tell them, hey, defer questions, or tell them if they're messaging you, let me know what they're saying, right? So I tell them, hey, just screenshot what they're saying back, send it to me. If they don't respond to the group, they may respond to you individually, or they may call you. Either one, let them know ahead of time that that may happen. And if so, defer questions. What's your go-to? Hey, I just got started with the company and I'm not licensed right now to explain much, but that's why Shondell's on the message. She can answer all of your questions if you're open to it. That's it. So I let them know that ahead of time. That way I have the point of contact and I let them know exactly what to say. So always prep your teammates. But from there, now I always have lists and lists of numbers. And once people get comfortable with it, they're like, people will ask, hey, Shondell, I know we just sent out the first 5, but can I just keep sending messages? I was like, yeah, if it says favor, I know it's somebody for a qualified appointment. And if it says money motivated people, then I know it's somebody that you want on your team, right? And then I'll maybe have them send me a quick voice message on Telegram, or they'll update our Google Sheet. We use Google Sheets for our list and our inventory. Hey, just put a little bit of information on there so I know when I'm calling them what to do. But now, like all the time, constantly, I have lists, because I'll just get text messages. These are like my lists for people that I can call from appointments. These are lists that I can call for recruiting. Like I always have a list. And why also do I like this? If I'm going to do, like, we have the phone scripts where you can get on the phone with the recruit and just three-way call. I realized, and this may or may work for other people, so I'm not saying don't do it, but what I realized was if I'm going to do that, I have to be available, the recruit also has to be available, and the person has to be available to all be on the phone at the same time. So that could be a little tough sometimes. And then you're like sitting around, oh, hey, can you make these calls? Oh, no, I'm busy right now. Now you can't make any of the calls. But here, if I have the text message, I can call them anytime, whenever I want, right? So that's theirs. And also, point and tip, make sure you get your recruits' schedule and availability. It's in the Fast Start meeting walkthroughs. If you guys have been doing that, make sure you know their availability so you can call and schedule things even though they're not on the phone with you. So that's huge. So that's the Fast Start meeting. That's how I work through my new recruits warm market. Now, character reference. So this is what I'll say on the phone once I actually call. So let's say we're doing a new recruit, Bob, and Mike is the client. So I'm going to role play. Mike's going to help me out here, and we're going to walk through. So I tell the recruit this whole script too when we're in the Fast Start meeting, so they know exactly what I'm going to say. And all right, so hi, can I please speak to Mike?
Yeah, this is he.
Yeah, hi, Mike. This is Shondell. I was just calling on behalf of Bob for a character reference. Is now a good time to talk?
Yeah, I have a couple minutes right now.
Okay, perfect. So Bob just started working with our financial firm, PFS Investments, and he'll be getting licensed in the state of Virginia to provide financial planning to families. So just like to learn a little bit about them as a person, since they'll be handling large sums of money at times and working with families on a regular basis. The reference could be personal, professional, or sometimes even a mixture of both. But usually people will just start off with how you know Bob, how long you've known him, and anything else you'd like to say about him as a person, okay?
Okay. I mean, I've known Bob for a long time. We go way back. We were high school friends. We actually used to play soccer together. And then we got older, graduated college, started working. He actually helped me get my job right now. So, I mean, he's a really great guy, very trustworthy, very reputable. Can't say anything negative about him.
Okay, awesome, perfect. So you guys see the little paragraph there? I said, or in parentheses, let them talk as much as they want about the person, right? Some people here and there will not say much at all. So example number 2. All right, yeah, so Mike, yeah, say anything else you'd like to say about them as a person.
Yeah, I know Bob. I think I've known him for about a year, and we work together.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, let me just ask you a couple quick questions then. So since we're in the financial industry, Bob's going to be helping families create large financial estates over time. So he's going to be handling a lot of money. To the best of your knowledge, have you known Bob to have any challenges handling money in any way?
No, I mean, he's usually in charge of like the transaction, so he's very trustworthy there.
Okay, perfect. And since we're also going to be helping families, do you believe that Bob is honest, has integrity, and will put the other family first before his financial gain?
Yeah, from my experiences with him, he definitely would.
Okay, perfect, perfect. So 2 situations, whatever they say, great, awesome. And then we move on, or say, okay, great. Well, my last question is just regarding training. So Bob is going to be going through 3 types of training in the state in order to complete a certification. So first, he has online study material that he's going to complete at his own pace. The second is classroom training, which we have with him a couple times a week. And then the third is field training over Zoom. So this is the most important because it allows Bob to see real life situations, and he has to complete 10 presentations on Zoom with people that are either married, couples, or have kids. So, so do you, Mike, personally fit into any of those categories as far as having kids or a significant other?
Yeah, I'm married.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, we're just curious to see if you and your wife would be willing to help out with one of those training appointments.
Yeah, I mean, if we have time.
Okay, awesome. Well, Bob is usually free at 12 and 1 and then 8:30 during the week. And then we have some flexibility on the weekends. When are you guys usually available together?
Either the evening or possibly on the weekends would be better.
Okay, perfect. So we can go for Monday, 8:30. That would work.
Yeah, let me just check with my wife first.
Okay, well, usually what we like to do is see if we can just set up a time tentatively, put it down on my schedule. I am training a lot of people, and then you can check with your wife, and if she needs to change, then we can figure out another day, but we can at least put it down on the calendar. Would that work?
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Okay, perfect. So all I need to do is just take down your name, your last name, and then what's your wife's name?
Shondell.
Okay, awesome, perfect. And then what's the, well, first off, have you used Zoom in the past?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great. So that's what we're going to use for the appointment. What's the best email address so I can send you the details?
Blah blah at gmail.